Hey everybody, welcome to the final episode of How to Get Started in Traditional Archery, Trade Archery 101. Greg Richards here, your host. Alright, it's been a long journey, hasn't it? We covered a lot. First we gave traditional archery a definition, and then from there we could proceed forward. We talked about terminology, talked about the longbow. What is it? Why is it so popular? The recurve bow. We talked about the string. Then we covered the most confusing subject, which will always be that way for you, the arrow. Then finally, we talked about accessories. And today we're here to talk about what bow to choose. Now in the previous videos, we talked about all the gear you're going to need at a minimum. And we're going to cover that again real quick. You're going to need a bow. Now the bow usually comes with a string. You're going to need arrows. I would suggest between a minimum of 3 and 6. Don't buy a whole dozen at the beginning because we'll elaborate that on there later. You need a quiver, glove or a tab. You're going to need an arm guard, a stringer, and then a T or a square. Now here's the big thing. What are we looking at for cost? Well, great question. It can be anywhere in a wide range of a few hundred to a few thousand. Now, if you want a bow, it's going to cost you from $80 in the low end all the way up to about $15,000 for a custom-made blacktail. That's right, $15,000 for a trad bow. All right, you got arrows. They're anywhere from $60 on up. A good basic arrow costs you about $10. When you get better, it's going to cost you about $20. And when you become really good, your more arrows become expensive, right? So figure about $10 to $20. Quiver, $20 on up. Glove, $15 on up. Stringer, about $15. Arm guard, $15 on up. And finally the square, about $15. So roughly at the low end, it's about $220. But I'm going to tell you, more reasonably, you can expect to spend about $300. When getting started, one of the hardest things to know is, what bow do you choose? There's so many of them and such a variety, so what do you choose? Well, a great indicator would be what you want to do. Right? Would you like to do Olympic archery? Because if you do Olympic archery, you're going to need a very specific type of bow and accessories. Or you're going to do horse archery. Again, a very specific type of bow. Maybe you want to do historical archery. Well, that's a whole other game altogether. And finally, is your primary goal hunting. Right? Now, if you're going to do Olympic archery, historical or horse, that pretty much tells you the path you're going to take. But even with that, don't go crazy with it. Let's keep it reasonable, right? Because here's the kicker. What if what you thought was going to be so much fun and so cool turns out not to be so fun or so cool? And you just spent all that money on it. Maybe you thought Olympic archery is what you wanted, but you found out you love 3D more. Can't use it, totally different. You just wasted all that money. So that's the big thing, all right? We're going to give you a bow that will help do almost all of them. Right? So when looking at a bow, here are a few things that I need you to consider. The first thing is don't overbow. What does that mean? It means don't buy too heavy of a draw weight. Many hunters love to brag, I shoot a 60-pound bow, I shoot a 65, I shoot 75. Don't do that as a beginner, because all those guys that do that have shoulder injuries, right? Shoulder injuries are very common for people that are overbowed, even experienced archers. And it's really important when you begin, because you don't know how to properly draw using your body. You're going to draw how you think you should, which is actually not the best way. All right, so don't overbow to avoid injuries. Number 2, we already covered it, don't spend too much money. Like we said, you don't know what you're going to like or what you're not going to like, so try to keep it reasonable, right? Keep the cost as low as you can, and then you'll be able to do it down the road. Because if you're like me, I got about 20 bows. I don't want that many, and I only shoot about 3 to 4 at a time. The rest just sit there, but I do like them. Right? That's just how it goes. The other thing you're going to need a bow you can learn with and a bow you can grow with, right? You're going to find how you do things at the beginning will change. And when they change, you're going to find things like maybe you don't like the first grip that you had. Maybe you don't like that first length. You're going to find your arrows flew great when you shot one way, but as you got better, they're not flying right because actually you've gotten better, your form's changed, and it's no longer the right spine for your form or your bow. So get a bow that you can keep growing with. And finally, you want a bow that's flexible and adaptable. A bow, if you want to do Olympic archery and 3D archery or a few other things, you want a bow that can do them all, right? Especially at the beginning. You don't want, if you buy an Olympic bow, they're very specific for what they do, right? You can't really do 3D with them unless you go bare bow. But again, we're bringing in the cost. Olympic bows cost a lot, so we got to keep that price down low, all right? So there's some things to look at. Don't overbow. Don't spend too much money. Buy a bow you can learn and grow with. And finally, buy a bow that is flexible and adaptable. So our next question is, where do you get a bow? Well, lots of places, right? You can go to a local pawn shop. You can go to a yard sale. But selection's very limited there. Going to probably overpay and you really don't know what you're looking at, right? You're going to need help. So let's first start with the brick and mortar stores. Up first is what we call box stores here in the United States, and that's the big ones. You can go to like Dick's, Bass Pro, or Cabela's. Now, positive on these are you can touch it, you can feel it, you can look at it, and they'll probably let you shoot it. Now the downside is the person helping you, odds are very likely that they do not know anything about traditional archery. Now, let me tell you, there's a huge difference between compound bows and traditional bows, and very little crosses over. So they might be knowledgeable on this, but I can tell you they're not knowledgeable on this. And it works the other way. I am knowledgeable about trad archery. Compound bows, don't ever listen to me. But you don't have to worry about that because I'm not going to talk to you about compound bows because I know next to nothing about them. All right, so there's that. But what about your little local Yoko mom and pop shops, right? Well, great choices. But again, same plus and minuses. Plus, you can touch them. You can feel them. Minuses are, is that person knowledgeable about trad archery? And in both, they have a limited selection of trad bows, and they want to sell you what they have in stock. They're not that interested in special ordering or anything. So those are not bad choices. Better ones is the internet. Now first up, we're going to talk about the big sites, right? eBay, Amazon. eBay, you can buy mainly used bows. You can find some new ones on there too. And on Amazon's almost all new bows. Now, bad side is you can't touch them, can't feel them. Good side is low prices. But in that classic Roman saying, cavet emptor, buyer beware. If you go on eBay and you buy a bow, you don't know what condition it's in. There could be a crack in the riser, which could be fatal. It could have a twisted limb. You just don't know. It's so hard to tell. Now on Amazon, they're all new bows. So you think they're better, and they got buyer reviews and all this stuff, so it can help you. But the thing about Amazon, especially with the bows, and this is perfectly illustrated by the story of the Black Hunter. The Black Hunter is probably the most popular starter bow out there. It was originally, notice that word, originally, made by a company called Jung Sing in China. And the owner of Jung Sing one day noticed that a furniture company down the road ordered 20 bows. And after he shipped them out, about a week or so after that, some of his employees left for that furniture company. Within a few weeks, that furniture company was churning out clones of his bow. Today, 6 different places make the Black Hunter bow. They all look very much alike, but the quality and the materials can vary greatly. So that's what you got to be aware of. Are you getting a quality Black Hunter or a cheap Black Hunter? There's those big ones. So that's the 2 big ones. But there are places on the internet that you can shop where you can have faith. And the ones I'm about to give you, I highly recommend. Remember what we said earlier, not all places know traditional archery. Well, these places do. The first up is probably the biggest, Lancaster Archery. Lancaster Archery will sell all types of bows, but they are some traditional hunting fools. They do traditional archery. They do lots of target archery. In fact, they put on one of the largest target archery events in North America. They're great people. They back their stuff up. They're knowledgeable. So if you can, check out Lancaster. Remember, they love target archery. A bunch of them hunt, but they're mainly target archers. The next one is Three Rivers. These guys are hunters, trad hunters. That's what they do. That's what they specialize in. They call themselves the longbow and recurve experts, and that's what they are. Great people. I've met them, I've talked to them, and I've worked with them. They will walk you step by step what you need, and they will take care of you. So those are the big ones. But what if you want to support that little guy? You know, the guy trying to make it, not the big successful companies. Well, Hitman Archery is owned by my friend Eric. Eric is a trad archer. He loves trad archery. He's knowledgeable about it. You call him, he's going to talk to you. He's going to find out what you want. He's going to engage you. Then he's going to give you his recommendation, and he backs everything up. And then the last one is a company I just started working with, and that is Lightning Archery. Now, they are out of China, so those of you that are whatever, China-phobes or whatever, don't ask me why. They're good people, and they have a fantastic product that's perfectly made for beginners, which we'll talk about in the next section where I give you my recommendation. All right, everybody, we covered a lot, haven't we? We talked about what a good bow should be, prices, and where to find it. You know, in the end, it comes up to you what you want. I'm going to give you my recommendation, and my recommendation isn't on a bow per se. It's about a style of bow. So no matter what you do, unless your heart is set on a horse bow, thumb ring, shooting that, right? If that's all there is, and that's what you're going to get. But anything else, I would highly suggest a takedown bow. Why do I suggest a takedown bow? Because it checks all the boxes. They are affordable. You can get them for a very decent price. You won't break the bank. And you can move up in scale and prices as you go. They're flexible, right? You can change the limbs. Remember we said don't overbow and the shoulder injuries earlier? If you start with too heavy of a weight, the odds of getting injured are greatly increased because you don't know how to properly draw. But with a takedown bow, you can get lighter weight limbs. I would highly suggest 30 to 35 pounds max, all right? That's going to allow you plenty of time to be able to pull, feel things, work things, get it all done. Once you got comfortable and you're doing good and you're shooting good, you know it's time for heavier weight, you don't have to buy a whole new bow, just buy new limbs, right? And most of them will come from 25 up to 55 pounds. So there it is, that is flexible beyond belief. But they're also adaptable. Many of them have attachments for plungers, sights, stabilizers, and more. You don't have to use them, but they're there if you want them. So let's say you don't know if you want to do target archery, so you're just shooting. But then you realize, man, this target archery stuff's cool. Well, with that bow, you can buy a stabilizer, put some sights on it, now you got a target bow. Take them off, you got a hunting bow. So they're adaptable. And like I said earlier, they're a bow you can grow with. You can change the weights, you can change what you do and how you do it. So a takedown bow is probably the best bow out there for beginners. I'm not a beginner, and I still use takedown bows. I love them. They're portable. Try carrying a 6 foot tall bow around with you everywhere. Takedowns, boom, got cases for them, easy to carry and travel with. Now, previous segment I talked about a fantastic starter package, and that is what I'm going to cover next. All right, a segment or so ago I talked about Lightning Archery's starter package, and I think this is fantastic. This is the box it comes in. It's quality. Lightning Archery, right? Nothing in my box because I'm using it all. In this package, you'll have almost everything you need. The only thing you're going to have to buy is a quiver. So you get your bow, your string, your stringer, knock points, 3 arrows, arm guard, and they use finger savers. They're these foam things that go on your string so you don't need a glove. But here's the kicker. $118 all included. You're all in for $118. That's fantastic. There is a great starter set. $118, everything you need. Now, if you go outside, remember you're going to spend anywhere from roughly 300 bucks, we said, right? You got somebody that wants to do archery? Buy them one of those little starter kits. I haven't found any others like it, so that's why I'm talking about it. You're all in at 118. All right, everybody, there you have it. Long journey to here. We got you set up. We told you you're educated now. You can make a choice on your own, and hopefully you'll make the right choice. And if you don't, you'll learn from it, like the rest of us did. And that's why I made this video, because I learned from mine. I've helped people, I showed people, and this is what I've learned. All right, up next, in the season, we're going to take that bow. I'm going to teach you how to put it together. I'm going to give you drills to learn how to shoot it. We're going to teach you to shoot it, and then we're going to take it from there. And each season, we're going to do different things. Like we're going to teach you target archery, field archery, indoor, 3D, all different type of stuff, right? We are going to walk you through everything that you need to become a successful archer. All right, everybody. Don't forget to check out my website right here, 3darchery.net. On it, you'll find everything you need to know about archery, from clubs and courses and public ranges throughout the United States, competition bodies, national competitions, regional competitions, and what's really cool, cool target setups, which I love. And of course, targets by me, 3D Archery. All right, everybody, thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed Season 1. And I'll see you next time in Season 2 with all new episodes of getting started in traditional archery.